Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here and welcome to another retro gaming review. And this time I give you Denton Design's 1986 title, The Great Escape, published by Ocean. And this is a corker of a game. It's sort of based on the 1963 film of the same name. As you can hear there, you can hear the famous Great Escape theme tune playing there, as well as It's a Long Way to Tipperary. So we'll select our controls. So keyboard's already set, so let's stick to that. Left, right, up, down, fire. Confirm, yes. So there's me. Now, as you probably guessed, you're an unnamed prisoner in a concentration camp in Second World War Germany. And as you probably guessed, your job is to try and escape from this camp and make sure you don't get you don't get lost and manage to cross the border. So it's not just a case of getting out; you also have to have the requisite travel documents and the means of not getting lost. So even if you've got everything you need in order to now see what it says Red Cross parcel. Every time you see that, and that happens every day at some point. You go in this door here, and there's our Red Cross parcel. Pick it up, open it. Now, this bag doesn't really do anything, but once I get a chance, I'm gonna take it back to my quarters. This is roll call. Ideally, you don't want to miss this if you can possibly help it, because you can lose morale if you do. Where's your morale? Well, it's the height of that flag on the far left of the screen, and the colour of the flag also determines whether you're in an area of the camp you're allowed to be in at that point, or whether you're in an area where you're not allowed to be. If you're in a green flag area and you leave the controls idle for a while, then the CPU takes over and controls you, and it will continue to do so until you take over control at some point yourself. However, if you're in a red flag area, which means you're in an area that's off limits at least at that particular point in time, then you'll fully be in control, and it won't do anything if you leave it idle. But bear in mind, if a Nazi guard or the commandant catches you in such an area, they will send you to solitary if they get right next to you. And anything you're carrying will be confiscated and sent back to its original location. So breakfast time now, and I'm presumably going to be eating the table because there's no food in front of me, and I can't see anywhere where I'm actually supposed to get some food to feed myself. So this is probably going to be the most boring meal these prisoners have ever had in their lives. Mind you, I suppose it's not exactly a 5-star Ritz hotel, so expecting too much in the way of food was probably a bit of a big ask. Now, what I picked up from the Red Cross parcel, you can actually see that little white bag just to the right of the base of the flag. That is one of 2 inventory slots in this game. Right, my non-existent breakfast is over. So there's the commandant you just saw walking at the top of the screen. Now I've resumed control now, so I'm going to go back to my quarters for the time being. I'm just going. You'll see why in a moment, as long as nothing stupid happens. As you see, now the flag's red, so I'm not supposed to be there. So this is a tunnel. I'm just dropping this. I just dropped that bag off in the tunnel. The reason I'm doing that is that when the next day's Red Cross parcel comes, if I leave that bag just lying around or I get arrested, then it would just keep giving me that bag ad nauseum. So by putting that out of sight, where it's which I'm hoping it'll never get discovered in, by putting it in that tunnel, it'll mean that I'll be able to to get something different in the next day's Red Cross parcel. The door is locked. The door is locked, so I'm going to press left and fire to use that red key. You press left and fire to use an object in your left-hand inventory slot, and right and fire to for what's in the. Now that's a pile of blankets, but what looks like a pile of blankets. But if you use it like I've just done, then as you can see, I'm disguised like a German guard. I've dropped that key as I don't really need it at the moment. Now that other item I've just picked up is a torch. So as you can see, I'm wandering around dressed as a German guard. So that will mean that unless I do something very suspicious, the German guards will not even realise it's actually a prisoner in disguise. However, one person, as you can probably guess what that other item is now. It's a torch, and it allows you to illuminate it allows you to see in these tunnels. So I'm just dropping that off there. Covering up that tunnel entrance. Now it's very hard to see, but there is actually a key down by here. Can you see there's a very faint line just here? It's a green key. Did you see that there was a guard in there? Now I'm just going to drop that green key off in my tunnel. You saw there was a very brief sight of another guard in there. Now, had I been dressed as in my usual prisoner officer, then it would have set that alarm bell really ringing because as you saw, I was in an area where I was not supposed to be. So because it's roll call, I'm now going to go to roll call. I've deliberately dropped off the German uniform because I don't particularly want to get caught with that, because oh damn it, I've missed roll call. Oh God, I can't let them get me, otherwise I'll be put in solitary. Oh great, now I've got the commandant on my arse. Hopefully I'm going to be able to quickly do some stuff while it's still dark. See, that guy, that soldier didn't recognise me. It's only the commandant you have to worry about when you're dressed like this. He will recognise you no matter what you're wearing, so be very careful of him. That there is a lock-picking kit. Door's locked. Now I'm picking the lock. As you can see, because the lock-picking kit is in my right-hand inventory slot, right, the door's open, but I can't really do anything about it right now because I can only carry 2 items at once. So as I said, that flag in the top left corner, it also reflects morale depending on how high up the flagpole it's flying. I'm hoping I can go back into that room I've just unlocked and... Ah, good, he's going that way. Oh, sugar, it's gone dark. I hope that guard's not out there. Oh, the commandant was there. Shit. Shit, 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 shit. Oh dear, this isn't good. Damn it. As I've explained, because I was in a red flag area, because when it's dark, the only place you're allowed to be is in your quarters in bed. Because I got arrested, I lost the shovel that I was carrying, and all doors that I had unlocked are now locked again. Right, better go for roll call. As you can see, my flag's not flying as high as it was before I got arrested. Every time you get arrested and every time an item gets discovered or whatever, you lose morale. If that flag reaches the very bottom of that pole, it's game over. Hopefully, once roll call's finished, I'm going to quickly nip into that room that's in the top left corner of the screen, because that's where the Red Cross parcel for today should be. Right, here we go. There was a little bit of slowdown there because of there being so many people on the screen. Right, those are wire cutters. You probably won't be surprised to hear that is one of the things you absolutely must have in order to help you escape, because it allows you to cut through the wires that outline the camp. So I'm just going to stick, like what I did with that little white bag, I'm going to stick this in my hidey hole. Just leave it to go idle for a bit. Very nice graphics in this, and it moves at a really good rate for the most part. As I said, as you saw just a few moments ago, just as roll call was finishing, it's only when there's lots and lots of people on the screen that you start to experience any kind of slowdown. Those medals in the bottom right corner show your score, and right, item discovered. There's the only thing I can think that is that red key that I picked up, but because I've got both the items that I needed in order to get that, that's not really such a big deal. You don't really want to put anything too close to the entrance to a tunnel, because it could get discovered, and whenever any item gets discovered, it gets sent back to its original. Actually, I don't need the lock picking. Actually, yes, I do, because otherwise, because I need to get that shovel again. Picking the lock is actually quite tense because it takes a while and you never know who could sneak up on you. And while I'm in here, while I'm dressed like that in particular, I really need to hope that the commandant's not around. Otherwise he'll nick me. Right. Now to put the lock picking kit back, and then I'll go back and get that shovel. One thing that is a bit of an irritation is when you go into the tunnels, you is that you automatically take off the German uniform. Right. So you have to remember to put it back on when you exit the tunnel. Oh, balls. You also getting out of the tunnel is a bit fiddly. You have to go out head first. If you try and go out feet first, it won't work, and you could just get stuck. And you actually have to gradually turn yourself around when you're in a tunnel. You can't just press the opposite direction to go 180. That won't work. So whenever I turn around, I always make sure I'm absolutely nowhere near the edge of the behind that parcel is another tunnel, but oh shit! Thank God that commandant wasn't closer to the door, otherwise I would have been in up shit creek without a paddle, and I would have lost the shovel again, and even had to get the German uniform again. Put both of these back in here. It's going to be roll call next. Oh! Now, can I get there before roll call finishes? God knows what he's doing, looking at the wall. No, not again. Give me a chance to get there, you bastards. Shit. Oh, dearie me. Now I've got these two on my arse. Stop following me. Creepy bastards. So, as you can see, it both does and doesn't bear a resemblance to the film of the same name. Right, so I'm going to take that and that. So you'll get an idea of what the tunnels look like now. The tunnels aren't overly complicated, and once you get the idea of what they are, you won't even need the torch after a while. This is what I needed the shovel for, this earth blockage here. Now I'm actually going to leave the I'm actually leaving the shovel there on that side. I don't want to leave it on the other side, because otherwise, if I get arrested, then the earth blockage will be on the wrong side for it later. So this is the other end of that tunnel. This is actually the exercise yard. So as you can see, those wire fences are what you use the wire cutters for. But even though I could cut through them, I have to be really careful, because even if I'm wearing the Nazi uniform, for some reason he'll just take it off. Quite why he needs to do that to use it. And as with lockpicking, it does take a little while, and there's a risk of getting arrested while that's happening. So I've left him idle, and when that happens, he automatically goes to bed. So, saying a little bit more about this game while this is happening, one thing where there's actually searchlights when it's dark outside, and what is kind of irritating is that even if you're wearing the Nazi uniform, the searchlights will still somehow recognise you. That's the only thing that I I'm not particularly keen on about the game. I mean, there's no one near you when that happens, so how could they possibly know it's you? And it's obviously not the commandant controlling it, because you still see the commandant out and about whenever, even when it's dark. So it's a bit of a mystery as to the justification for that. So it's kind of a shame. And when the magazine Your Sinclair did their official top 100 Spectrum games of all time, The Great Escape was placed at number 23. Both the tense atmosphere and the protagonist's automatic daily routine were highlighted as excellent features. And although you haven't seen them yet, as well as the guards, there are also some guard dogs that patrol the small area between the main courtyard and the exercise area, which I showed you part of at the other end of the tunnel leading from my bedroom here. And it's somehow the dogs can actually arrest you, and like the regular German guards, if you're caught doing something suspect while wearing a uniform, they'll know it's you, and even they can raise the alarm. And as you can see by the fact that it's gone back to the white colour, it's no longer cyan, it's no longer dark. And the fact I lost a bit of, you always lose a bit of morale whenever another day dawns. Almost like it's a case of misery, because it's another day where you may have to be cooped up in this concentration camp. Nicely animated sprites in this, and as I said, it moves at a really good rate. Plenty of detail on the graphics. Monochrome, obviously, because of the need to avoid color clash. It's only really the outer area and the decoration around the main playing area that can have some color. Or can you imagine the attribute problems that this would have had it been contained more in the way of color? I mean, the closest it gets to colour is the searchlights I mentioned earlier when they're there. Yeah, just thought again, it's that one of those guys looks a bit lost. As with the previous day, as soon as sometimes the AI gets a bit skew-whiff, as you can see with that prisoner there who's trying to get to his space and has lost the plot somewhat. Nice sound for the bell. In fact, I was actually looking at footage of the other two versions of this game, and it is unfortunate that they're Spectrum ports and they run noticeably slower than the bona fide Spectrum version that you're watching now. It is. I do actually feel quite sorry for those who had a Commodore 64 Amstrad and played this game. Now, what I picked up in the Red Cross parcel this time is some chocolate. You can actually use that on any one of the other prisoners, and they'll act as a decoy and distract guards while you go off and do your own thing. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go and unlock some doors. Luckily, this guy doesn't take off the uniform when he. Right, door's locked. Picking the lock. Right, that's open. I'll pick this lock as well. That's actually that room I've just unlocked is the. Pick this lock as well. Please don't let the commandant come in here, otherwise I'm sunk. Right. Now I'm going to quickly drop off the lock picking kit. Actually, I'm going to chance it. I'm going to. God. I'm going to take a chance, and now that I've emptied both of them, hopefully there won't be too many guards about because everyone's gone to exercise, and pretty much everyone's gone to exercise area with the other prisoners. I am taking a chance doing this because if anyone sees me in here, I'm going to be in real trouble. So pick that up and pick that up. Right. That worked out quite, touch wood, that worked out quite well. I was only in a forbidden area for a very brief period. Now that item on the left in my left inventory is a map, and you probably won't be surprised to hear that that's what you need in order to make sure you don't get lost on the. And the yellow key I've picked up is for one of the two outer doors that I unlocked before unlocking the. Now I've got to be careful where I put this because I don't want to put that too close. There's no way I'm going to get back to it in time for roll call, so. Even though it's dark, you can still just about make out where junctions are as you walk past them. So, see, there was no way I was going to make it to roll call in time. And I don't need the torch, but I'm just picking it up so you can see what's happening. As I said, there is that other tunnel from that room where I found the lock picking kit, but it's not absolutely necessary. Right, so I've dropped the wire cutters there. I'm going to see if I'm probably playing. Actually, no, I won't. It's probably too risky doing it now. What I was thinking of doing was taking the wire cutters and the map and putting the map outside, but there's a very real danger of getting seen, especially as I've just gone into automatic mode again. This really is a very clever game. Ah, it's gone dark. See that? Oh God, I'm going to get arrested if I'm not careful. This is the closest you get to colour clash in this game. Damn it! I mean, on the plus side, it means we all don't have to wait until the next day and go. But on the downside, I do lose morale every time that kind of thing happens. But luckily, I wasn't carrying anything, so I didn't lose quite as much morale. And as you saw, another Red Cross parcel has just arrived. So be going in there to get that. Actually, no, I'll do roll call first. You really don't want to miss roll call, because if you miss roll call and the guard sees you, you'll get arrested even in a green flag area until the call for either breakfast time or time for bed, which depending on which version of the roll call it is. The way it goes each day: roll call, breakfast time, exercise time, then roll call, then time for bed, and then night time, and then the next day it's a case of rinse and repeat. So as with the other 2 days, as soon as this roll call's finished, I'm going to head into the Red Cross parcel room and open that parcel, because I don't fancy going for a non-existent. That's a compass. Now, I believe that door there is what that yellow key that I picked up not so long ago opens. I mean, it could be that one as well. I can't actually remember. But it's still worth having, as it's far less time consuming to open a door with a key if you've got a key that opens it, compared to the lock picking kit, which takes a while and can leave you vulnerable for several seconds. I've gone in the wrong one. It's this one. So I'm going to put this compass at the far end of the tunnel. It can be such a problem transitioning, or if you accidentally try backing out. Oh yeah, that earth blockage needs clearing again. Every time you get arrested, as well as doors that work, any doors you unlock locking themselves automatically, you also have the same problem that earth blockage is back. It's not exercise time yet. I guess not, because they're flagged not green. The only time you're allowed in that exercise area is when it's exercise time. And as you saw, it tells you in the bottom left corner where. Right, now I'm allowed in that area. So I'm just going to use it. See, now it's a green flag area, so I'm allowed in here. And this is just to show you what kind of things are about. There's one of those dogs I was telling you about just walking past there. Another watchtower there. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean you're in trouble if a guard chases you in a green area. It just depends what you do. If you're doing something like seen picking up an item, then that could arouse suspicions, and you could be nicked, and the item that you picked up confiscated. But apart from that, here come the rest of the prisoners. That is kind of amusing that guy would have clearly seen me go into this tunnel, yet even the commandant's completely oblivious to tunnels in this. So what I'm going to do is hang around in the exercise area for a while. Then as soon as the coast is clear, I'm going to... Oh, I see it. Buzz off, you bellend. Right. I'm going to take a chance and see if I can put that... Right, I'm cutting the wire. What I'm going to do is put them... Shit! Damn it! So I've got a bit of a problem. I don't think that guard that just arrested me discovered the 2 items that I got. So I get the feeling that unless I get another Red Cross parcel to give me wire cutters, I may have a big problem. I'm just going to see if there's a Red Cross parcel that can replace the wire cutters. Otherwise, I won't be able to complete the... No. So on that note, I'm going to end this review now. I've pretty much covered everything you need to do. Ideally you need to have the main essentials are the wire cutters, the compass, and the map. The map stops you from getting lost when you escape, and the compass what I thought was maps. It's just official papers. The way it works is that the papers allow you to cross the border, with the proper permit, while the compass allows you to not get lost. If you don't have both of those when you make your escape, then you'll lose the game and you won't escape successfully. And the only other thing you need are of course the wire cutters to actually get you through the perimeter fence in the first place. So there you have The Great Escape for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, an absolute classic, genuinely tense. There's nice atmosphere despite it being a mid-1980s 8-bit game. Nice 3D isometric graphics. Very clever game. Lots of fun. Not surprised it did so well in the best Spectrum games of all time, as I mentioned earlier. Sound, good use of sound. It makes a very good sound for the bell, and the other sparse bits and bobs are not a nice touch as well. Just little blips here and there when you pick up and drop items. But then I guess a game like this doesn't really need much in the way of sound. Everything that's there sound-wise serves its purpose. I mean, you weren't going to get a 128K version because it was developed before the 128K Spectrum was even released here in the UK. So, gameplay, absorbing, fun, plays like a dream. The controls for picking up and dropping and using items are a little bit strange, but once you get used to them, which honestly doesn't take long, you'll be able to pick up and drop and use items with aplomb. So as I said, it up and fire picks up an item, down and fire drops the item that's in your leftmost slot, and the other item cycles into slot 1 if it was in slot 2, and to use an item in the left hand slot you press fire and left, and to use an item in the right hand slot you press fire and right. So it seems a bit strange when I describe it like that, but it works surprisingly well when you actually come to do it. And as I said, it's genuinely tense, especially when you're trying to pick a lock or cut wires, and you're hoping and praying that a key member of the concentration camp staff doesn't catch you in the act, especially when you cut wires. Because as you saw, actually you wouldn't see, but if you cut wires while you're wearing the German uniform, for some reason he takes it off, and I don't quite understand why that has to happen. It doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. It also doesn't make sense as to how you can be recognised in the German uniform by the searchlights. I know I wasn't wearing my German uniform when the searchlight caught me earlier in this review, but even if I was wearing it, that searchlight would still have somehow known it was me. Yeah. So because of little flaws like that, I cannot give it a 9. So I'll give The Great Escape on the ZX Spectrum 8 out of 10. It's a classic. If you haven't tried it, give it a whirl. I'm really convinced a lot of people will really enjoy it. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen the original 1963 film. The premise is simple, and it's pretty much described in the title. You're trying to escape from this camp. So, what more do you really need? So 8 out of 10 for The Great Escape on the Spectrum. Hope you enjoyed this review. Texie88 out.